Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Rogan here. Welcome back to a brand new video. Recently I've been making videos teaching you how to edit videos like other Valorant YouTubers, and I've had a lot of requests to do one on Cjaiye, so that's what this video is. So in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to edit and make videos just like Cjaiye. Now if you don't know who Cjaiye is, he's a Valorant YouTuber, as you can see here, and he makes sort of chilled out montages showing off cool frags and streamer reactions and things like that to his gameplay, and more specifically his Neon gameplay. A lot of people have asked me how he makes his videos. Now I don't know for definite, I haven't spoken to him, but going off of what I've seen in his videos, I think I can make something pretty similar, and that's what I'm going to teach you how to do today. Now if you guys haven't seen my other two videos teaching you how to edit like Zshu and Ladif, then make sure you go and check those out after this video. The link to those will be in the top right corner right now, as well as in the description and probably on the end card of this video, as well as drop a like, subscribe, and check out my Patreon to support future videos. And without any further ado, let's get started. So the software of choice today is going to be Adobe Premiere Pro. Again, you can do this in whichever software you like. The edits here today are not going to be overly complex, so you're not going to need anything like After Effects, but you should be able to accomplish the exact same thing in software like DaVinci Resolve, Sony Vegas, any of your mainstream editors. And although some of the buttons and effects might not be in the same place, I'll try to explain everything as best I can so you can follow along in whichever software you're using. If you want to use Premiere Pro and you don't have it already, then check the link in the description where you can go and get it. I'm going to be using clips from Craze's clip pack. Check out the pack and his YouTube channel down in the description. So I'm just going to drag and drop them all into my project bin just like that. This step will be pretty similar regardless of the software you're using. Some of them you may have to come up to File and then Import or something like that, but the general concept's the same. Now the clip I'm going to start on is this Pearl 3K, so I'm going to right click on it and hit new sequence from clip. That's going to open up in my timeline over here, and you can see I can scroll through. I've also removed the audio from these clips for the sake of the video because dragging around in the timeline makes a really annoying noise, but that won't affect anything that I'm teaching today, so it shouldn't really matter too much. Now before we can start editing comes my favorite and arguably the most important step, and that is choosing the song that you want to edit to. Now for these kind of edits, I like to use a lot of mainstream copyrighted music, and I'll do so in this video. And now you must be thinking, how was I able to do that without risking a copyright strike or losing monetization? Well, that is no longer a problem thanks to this video's sponsor, Licked. Licked is an amazing service offering the biggest music catalogue for creators with over 1 million mainstream songs for you to choose from for use in your videos and edits completely copyright claim free. Click the link at the top of the description and start browsing their playlist to find the perfect song for your edit. Licked makes it super easy to find exactly what you're looking for with their list of categorized playlists to suit any video with tracks from some of the biggest mainstream artists like Bruno Mars, Cardi B, and Lil Uzi Vert. Help your channel grow as audiences watch and engage more with your content when you use recognizable music. Perhaps you choose something like this. This. Or even this. Every song you've heard or yet to hear in this video I got from Licked. Not only do they offer mainstream music, but they also have an amazing stock music catalogue including over 100,000 tracks with unlimited use across any social media platform, all for just one subscription. So don't get your videos claimed, sign up to Licked with the link at the top of the description for 14 days free stock music and 50% off your first mainstream track. And once you've downloaded your song from Licked, all you want to do is drag and drop that into your project, just like this. Now I chose the song Finders Keepers by Dro Kenji, Scory, and Internet Money, and then onto your timeline. Now what we're going to do is add markers to the clip to make it easier to edit and sync to. Now Cjaiye doesn't usually have any crazy syncing effects or anything like that, so you don't have to be perfect with it. I'll just show you the basics and then you can go from there. So in Premiere Pro you can see the audio tracks that are along the bottom, and this track is quite thin for looking at the waveforms. So if you just come over to the side and drag the track down, it will expand it a bit and you'll be able to see the audio waveform a little bit easier. If your Premiere Pro layout doesn't look like mine, come up to the Workspaces tab and make sure you're in Effects. You could be in Essentials, in which case it would look like this, but just come over to the effects panel. This is what I typically choose to edit in, and it should look pretty similar to mine. And now what you'll want to do is play through the song by tapping the spacebar, and with the song selected, every time you press M on the keyboard, you'll see it will add this little marker here on the song layer. If you don't have it selected, it will add a marker to the project up here. I don't like to do it like that, just in case I end up moving the song around like this, and you see the marker comes with it. Otherwise the marker stays in the same place and then you'd start syncing out of sync. It just gets really messy really quickly. So I'd recommend putting the markers on the song layer directly. So what I'm going to do now is just hit play and tap M on my keyboard every time I hear a beat, using the waveform to kind of help me out a bit. I've been taking drugs till my heart stop. Read up, I might hit the plug, I need a walk, drink Okay, so as you can see, I've added a few markers here. I'll just play it through so you can see that the markers are in fact on the beat and like, you know, what you should sort of aim for. It's up to you what you want to sync to, whether you want to sync to, I don't know, hi-hats, 808s, lyrics, whatever you want. You know, obviously make sure you're consistent with it. They go with claps to start with and then beats further on. So we'll just listen to it.
Taking joy to my heart stop, read up, I might hit the plug, I need a walk, drink up. She just tryna let me cause my eyes like it's readers. You know that she with me cause it's finders, keepers. Got him looking silly, he can't find her, weeper. Brody gotta strip and get behind her, teamer. She gon' hit the front, give me mine till her knees.
So there you go, as you can see the markers are pretty much on the beat and we're going to use those markers to sync when we get kills or when we cut clips and stuff like that from now on. So I'm going to drag my audio layer back to sort of, you know, the usual size, and I just drag the size of the video up a little bit. This makes absolutely no difference, but just for the sake of the tutorial to make it a little bit clearer what we're doing. So now I'm just going to look through the clip and cut the parts that I want to keep. Now to cut a video in Premiere Pro, you just come over to the razor tool here and then you can click. You click anywhere on the timeline you want, but if you put it around where the playhead is, it will, you know, cut it exactly on that or sort of snap there. However, I have keybinds set for C to add edit, X to ripple delete, and Q to ripple trim previous edit to playhead. So I'll just show you what that means. So if I just have my playhead anywhere over the clip like this and I press C, you'll see it will cut the layer there just like that. If I press Q, it will cut from where the playhead is and automatically move the clip back to where the last cut is. If I press Q, you see it does that. It also got the audio layer as well. So if you want to lock the audio layer, you know, it won't do that. And finally, I have X bound. So if I select this clip here and press X, it's gonna remove that clip and bring the clip to the right to line up with the clip next to it. Alternatively, you can just select it, press delete, and then if you select the empty space and press delete again, it will do the same thing, but I just have the keybinds, makes it a little bit easier. You know, if you like the mouse, go ahead and use the razor tool, completely up to you. Now you'll see here is where they get the final kill in the clip, so I want to sync this with a beat. So as I'm moving through the timeline, I'm going to find the point where the kill starts to appear in the kill feed, just like this. As you can see, the kill pops up there, and I'm going to select the clip and press M to put a marker on there, so now I know this is an area that I want to sync up with a beat. And then all you have to do is drag the clip so that a marker lines up with a beat. Now I'll show you what I've got so far. So I've just cut the beginning of the clip off and I've synced up. I actually decided not to go with the marker on the kill, but instead there's a quick motion when he pulls the knife out, which I thought actually syncs a little bit better. So you're sort of going to have to use your own judgment with this and decide what you want to sync with. But I'll show you what this looks like so far.
Teed up, I've been taking joy to my heart stop, read up, I might hit the plug, I need a walk, drink up. She just tryna let me cause my eyes like it's readers. You know that she with me cause it's finders, keepers. Got him looking silly.
And there you go. Now I think the middle part of this clip is a bit long. So all I'm going to do is drag along the clip a little bit so he gets the first kill, and then I think I'll cut it here, ignore all of this part, and then cut it again here when he re-peeks around the corner. So then I'll drag these together and give this another watch.
Need a walk, drink up. She just tryna let me cause my eyes like it's readers. You know that she with me cause it's finders, keepers. Got him looking silly.
And there you go, I like what we got so far. Although I think we need a bit of a transition between these two clips. So what I'm going to do is come up to effects, I'm going to search for cross, and you'll see under dissolve we've got cross dissolve. I'm just going to stick that on and we'll see what that looks like.
She just tryna let me cause my eyes like it's readers.
And that's pretty much one of the only transitions that Cjaiye actually tends to use. It's either a hard cut or a cross dissolve most of the time. However, if you do want to be a little bit more extravagant with your transitions, then go ahead and check out my free Premiere Pro transitions pack. I also have an After Effects one as well if you want to use After Effects, but I'll link that in the description and it'll also be the card in the top right corner. But yeah, for Cjaiye videos, a cross dissolve is pretty much all you need, and so, you know, that's what I'm going to use. Now another thing you'll be able to do is slow motion, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So on the beat here, you know, where I put the marker, I'm going to cut the clip, and then on this second half, I'm going to just right click on the FX icon in the corner, go down to time remapping and set it to speed. And now I want to make this like 2 times as slow, so I'm just going to right click on the clip and then go to speed duration, and then if I just type in 50% to make it 50% the speed of the current clip, you know, it's kind of counterintuitive. I think in After Effects you want to make it twice as slow, you'd put 200, as in to make the duration of the clip 200% of what it was originally, but in Premiere Pro it's the opposite. So as you can see, 100% is just 1 second and 50 makes it 2 seconds. Alternatively, what you can do is right click on the little FX button here, time remapping, and select speed. This allows you to have a little bit more control with your slow motion. You could do speed ramps and things like that. I do have a tutorial on that, again, card in the top right corner if you want to go check that out. I have one in Premiere Pro and also in After Effects. Those are quite software specific, so I'm just going to stick with using the speed duration because most editing software will have this feature. And I'm going to set the speed to 50% and hit OK, and then we'll just have a look at what that looks like.
Got him looking silly, he can't find her.
And there we go. I like how that looks, you know, twice as slow. Again, feel free to use any value you like. Now, the issue with this is it's slightly choppy. Now, that's because we've slowed it down. We've essentially gone from 60 FPS to 30. You'll notice there's some weird artifacting like this here, which you can see where it's kind of bugging out. This is purely because of the clips that I'm using and that they were sped up previously to a higher frame rate, and the algorithm that was used generates artifacts like this. Now, you will not have this issue in your clips unless you're using crazes, of course. So, you know, don't worry about this. So yeah, just ignore that for now. You shouldn't have this problem. But to get rid of the choppiness, what we can do is either when we slow down the clip in speed duration, so say if I do 50%, there's a time interpolation option here, and if we select optical flow, then that will make the clip smoother by essentially generating frames where they were dropped. Alternatively, you can right click on the clip, go to time interpolation, and then select optical flow in here, and I will show you what the difference is. Now, just like how I was saying before with creating these artifacts from generating frames, optical flow will tend to do that sometimes. So just sort of experiment with it on, with it off, you know, how many frames you can drop and get away with, as well as increasing or decreasing the speed to try and minimize that. Some people don't care about it. I don't really care about it, so I'm just going to leave it. But essentially that has just restored us back to 60 FPS. I do have a more in-depth video on this, which I'll link down in the description if you're interested. But yeah, essentially we've slowed the clip down and we've regained the frame rate that we lost otherwise, so it's still smooth. Another thing you can do is add a little like kind of flash effect. If I come over to the project bin and right click and create a new adjustment layer, make sure it's the size of our clip, which it is 1920 by 1080, and drag that above the clip just like this. I'll shrink it down a little bit. We can now apply effects to this adjustment layer that will affect the clips below. So if I come up to the effects panel and look for brightness and contrast under color correction and chuck that on here, we make sure we're on the marker where the beat is essentially, and go back one, keyframe the brightness at 0, go forwards one, keyframe the brightness or something like 60, and then go through the clip a little bit and drop it down to 0 again. Essentially what that will do is make the brightness quickly increase and then slowly decrease over time. So you'll see these two keyframes are on consecutive frames, so it's going to go from being 0% brightness to 60% instantly, whereas these two between 60 and 0, you'll see there's several frames. So if I just drag the timeline here, if you watch this value over here, you'll see it will it's essentially called tweening between the two keyframes. So if I play it, you'll see it will rapidly increase in brightness and then slowly decrease, just adding a little bit more impact to the beat basically. Now I like that. I just think the brightness is a little bit low, so I'm just going to increase the brightness back to 100, and if we watch this again,
finders, keepers, got him looking silly, he can't find her, weeper.
And there you go, you can see we've added a bit of impact to the beat there through a brightness and contrast adjustment. I wouldn't really do anything else for a CJ style video. I've covered other effects that you could add. I literally have like 6 other videos showing different effects that you can do on beats just like that, whether it's scales, flashes, shakes, you know, you name it, probably covered it. But CJ videos are more chilled out, kind of relaxed vibe, so I probably wouldn't do anything more than that. And now it's pretty much rinse and repeat from here. So, you know, you drag your next clip on. So for example, if I went for this clip, I would drag that on, find a kill that I want to sync to. So the kill is there, so stick a marker on that. Now you can see I've essentially just put the markers on the clip and cut it down, dragged it to match with the rest of the clip so that the markers line up with beats. Here you can see I've synced with this kill, and I've also synced with this final kill as well. You'll see it just pops up in the kill feed just like that. So this is what this looks like.
Finder, weeper, Brody gotta strip and get behind her, teamer.
And just like before, we'll search and stick a cross dissolve on, just like that, and drag it so that it covers both videos, just like this.
Finder, weeper, Brody gotta strip and get behind her, teamer. She gon' hit.
And there you go, that's what that looks like. I could copy and move the adjustment layer over to add a brightness effect to these kills if I wanted to as well. You know, again, it's completely up to you. From here on out, it's basically just rinse and repeat. Add markers where your kills are, line the kills up with the beats, cut your clips to fit, add the cross dissolves between the clips, and brightness adjustments if you want them. Another thing CJ does relatively often, which is usually if, you know, he's got someone in like in-game comms that's speaking, he'll crop the video down to show that to like, you know, show their name speaking in the corner or whatever. To do that, if you select your clip, again, this should be pretty similar on most editing software. You may have to add a transform adjustment or something like that, but in Premiere Pro, it's just as simple as keyframing the scale and position up here, move forward in time a little bit, and increase the scale to show what you want to show. You can see Craze has people talking on Discord in the top corner up here, so I may want to zoom in on that, but in my case, I want to zoom in on the ammo to show that, you know, maybe he's low on ammo or something like that, just to make the clip a little bit more impressive, I suppose. So I'll just sort of go like this, and, you know, now it shows the ammo. So if I watch the clip back through, I've disabled the sound, but if you watch the clip through, you'll see it will zoom in now on the ammo. You can select these, right click, temporal interpolation, and do ease in, something like that, to make it a little bit smoother. So it looks like that. Or if you select the first two, temporal interpolation, and do ease out, that'll do essentially the opposite. But, you know, up to you, whatever you want. I'm going to keep with ease in and drag the keyframes a little closer so it's a bit faster. So it looks like this. And then you literally just do the keyframes in reverse order. So if I copy these, paste them, go forwards a little bit in time, and copy the keyframe over here, just like this. And in this case, I'll just do temporal interpolation, put this to linear, and the one behind, put that back to ease in, just like we had it before. And that's what that looks like. So zooms in, zooms out, you know, you get the gist. Of course, yeah, you may want to zoom in on chat or even on the kill feed or anything like that. In my case, I just chose the ammo, but that's how you do that. Another thing CJ might do is subtitles. So if, you know, there's a streamer on screen, or yeah, someone in game comms and wants to add subtitles, then I'll show you how to do that quickly. So if you just press T on your keyboard to select the type tool just over here, alternatively you can just click it. Again, this will be pretty similar in any editing software, and just click somewhere on the screen where you want to type. I'm going to expand the text options over here, center the text, select a font like Montserrat, and go for semi-bold. And I'm just going to type out like dummy text basically. And then if you stick a stroke on it, we'll go for black and make it say like 6. And then what we usually do is pick a color. So for example, if we go for like a dark green or something like that, you know, now we've got this text, and I will center it in the middle, make it slightly smaller. I'll also add a shadow as well, make that dark. So there you go, you can see it on screen a little bit better. Now I've zoomed in. And now something you may want to do is make it kind of animated. So I'm going to set the scale to 0 and keyframe it. Go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. Set it back to 100, and essentially all that's going to do is, you'll see here, it just has this little pop-in effect. For subtitles, you'll usually want it to be quite quick, but obviously, you know, you can have it as long as you want. And then all you would do is copy and paste this and cut it down to match, you know, whoever's talking. So I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to change this one to say just dummy. And then I'll duplicate it by holding Alt, clicking and dragging to the right. And then on this one, I'm going to change it to say text. And then I'll do another one, and I'll just call this one test, and one more, and call this one subtitle, something like that. Zoom out to fit and play this. You see? We've essentially got these subtitles. You don't have to be single words, you know, you can have whatever you want in there, but that's essentially how you make those. And then on the last one, maybe you'd want to keyframe the opacity, you know, something like this. Now, finally, when you think you're done with your edit, you're going to want to add some motion blur. Now, in all of CJ's videos, he has some form of motion blur. I can't say for definite what he uses to achieve this, but a common tool is RSMB. If you don't know what that is, it stands for Real Smart Motion Blur. It is a paid plugin for, I believe most editing software has it. I know DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, After Effects, Sony Vegas all have it. So yeah, go get that. If you don't have RSMB or you don't want to pay for it, then I do have a video linked to the top right corner covering how to make smoother videos using another method, which I actually think the other method's even better, and that is what I would do. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to use RSMB. And what you can do is search for the effects. So I'll search RSMB up here. You'll see I have RSMB. You can just drag and drop this on every clip individually, but what I would suggest is selecting everything, right clicking, and then go to nest and call this RSMB or whatever you want. And now everything is one gigantic clip. And if you just drag and drop RSMB onto that, it will now make everything smooth. Now here's a good example of what RSMB actually does. So if we look at the knife right here, so if I zoom in, I don't know, like 100%, you look at the knife right here, you can see it's like slightly blurred. If I disable the RSMB effect by clicking the FX button over here, you see it becomes sharper. Now what RSMB does is it will judge how fast the video is moving, essentially, like which direction you're moving, so if you're whipping your mouse around, that sort of thing, and it will add motion blur accordingly, and that will just make the edit a hell of a lot smoother. One downside to RSMB is that it does increase render times and makes previewing a lot slower, so this is why I suggest doing it at the end. So you'll see if I play the clip, you can see it's, it's starting to lag quite a bit. But this shouldn't matter too much as you're adding it at the end. You don't really need to like go through and edit it, and if you want to, you can just double click on the nested sequence and you're back on the previous timeline without RSMB, so you can edit, with no slowdown. That's pretty much why I suggest doing your RSMB in a nested sequence. Let's say, for example, you do want to watch it for whatever reason. One way to do that is if you press I on your keyboard to make an in point, and then scroll through your clip like this and press O to make an out point, help to sequence and render into out. And once it's completed, you will now have a completely smooth, essentially rendered version. I'd try render effects into out because that is typically a bit quicker, but if that's still laggy, then unfortunately, yeah, you'll have to do render into out, which is essentially like when you finally render the video. So it may take a little while, but it then will allow you to preview it back in normal speed. So if I play this back now, you should notice it's got the RSMB, so it should be nice and smooth.
She just tryna let me cause my eyes like it's readers. You know that she want me cause it's finders, keepers. Got him looking silly, he can't find her. Weeper, Brody got to strip and get behind her. Teamer.
And there you go. That is pretty much all there is to editing a CJ video. Now all you want to do is come to export and render your video out from here. I do have a video covering good render settings on my channel already, which I will leave a link to in the top right corner. I do plan on remaking that soon, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, that video will do just fine. The settings are exactly the same. They've just sort of moved around a bit in recent versions of Premiere Pro. Those settings will be applicable to other editing software as well. They may just be under slightly different names, but the general settings themselves will be the same. Now, I was going to go on to show you how to make a CJ style thumbnail, but this video is already way too long, so I'm going to push that to my next video. So stay tuned for my next video, which will be the second part to this one, where I will show you how to make a CJ style thumbnail. I should be posting it in a couple of days, so stay tuned for that. If it's out when you're watching this video, then it will be the card on the top right corner or linked as the pinned comment. And that's pretty much it for making a CJ video. If you guys did enjoy the video or found it helpful at all, please make sure you slap a like on it, subscribe, and leave a comment with any videos you want to see on the channel in the future. Big shout out to Lick for sponsoring this video. Go check them out with the link at the top of the description. As well as thank you to everyone who's supporting me over on Patreon. The link will be in the description for that as well. Check out my video on how to edit like Ladif and how to edit like Zishu. There will be the end card on this video. And other than that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.